Hold on. How are you? My name is Liz, and I was a homeschooler for 20 years. I homeschooled all three of my children from the moment that probably about 2, 3 years old, started doing preschool kind of activities with my kids, and then moved into having a group of people with preschoolers. That group grew to about 40 and then as kids got into about 5 years old, some of them decided that they were not going to continue homeschooling their kids, and then they decided to put them in the schools. I decided that I wanted to continue homeschooling my children, and so I have done that and homeschooled them all the way through high school. And I am a certified teacher. I don't think that's necessarily important to be when you're a homeschooler. I think that it's your passion, your desire to help your children that matters. And so I wanted to give some ideas to some of you who may not be feeling quite as strong as you would like to feel. And I'll just be real quick. As I thought about you and thought, well, let me just help you right now, okay? When you're thinking about homeschooling at home because your kids are at home for spring break, they're used to routine. And I'm going to talk here, the homeschoolers already know what I'm talking about, but if you've been in public school, private school, and you haven't been in charge of your kids' education, you don't realize necessarily all the time that is spent having kids come into the classroom, hang up their coats, get their pencils, get their materials ready. Oops, drop my pencil on the floor. Oh, now this one's got to go sharpen a pencil. And there's a lot of time that is wasted, and the teacher is standing there patiently waiting for everybody to be prepared. And then if she has to move these 20 plus children, she then has to get them to stand up, get their materials, make sure nothing's dropped on the floor, everybody walk down the hall. There's a lot of time. Getting them to the cafeteria, making sure that they have all their coats and their mittens so that they can go outside and play. You can see it all adds up. So when you're home and you're teaching your children, you don't have those kind of delays multiplied by 20 plus children. You have 1, 2, 3, 6, 10 kids. Maybe some of my friends have 10 children. And so you're homeschooling your children, but you're not having to do a lot of wasting time just twiddling your thumbs waiting for the kids to get ready. So school can be school without being like school life. I taught when my kids were little and they were in preschool. We might do something for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then we were done. And then we played. And a lot of the things we played were things that would get their minds going. We played with Legos. We played with cups and bowls and boxes, anything that was there. The kids, you can give a kid a great toy and what they want is the Kleenex box. They think that's the best toy ever. So you want to have your topics that you're looking at, the things that you want your kids to learn about. In most of the states, you want to teach them in English. Although if you're bilingual, I would encourage you to have your children be bilingual as well, but teach in English. They teach math, the spelling, the English, history, science. All of those things can be taught just by picking an interest. Let's say your child likes bugs, okay? Your bugs can be all of those topics that I just mentioned, the academic ones, can be covered by bugs. How do we do that? Well, if let's say they go and they want to research this bug that they found, and how many bugs does it take to fill up this container? Well, hopefully they won't find all those bugs, but they could measure them and start to figure out how much this would fill up. How many bugs does it take if a bird comes along and eats one of them? How many will run away? How many will you can have science experiments. Where did this bug come from? What do we know about it? What's the history about it? Right, how do I spell the word bug? What does it rhyme with? And what can I make a poem? So now you're into the English. Can I make a story about the bug? What's its name? What does he do? Does he have friends? Who are his friends? What do they look like? Now you have art going on, right? So there's a lot of creativity that you have just based on what the child is interested in. So you have these books from the school and you go, yeah, but they have to do these books. Okay, well then that's where you get engaged and reading through those books and finding some fun ways to introduce that. You have the flexibility and creativity that the typical classroom teacher does not. If you want to go check out those bugs, staying on that topic, take them outside. You can be outside, look for bugs in 5 minutes and back in the room 5 minutes later, in the time that it would take a teacher in the classroom to even think about getting mittens and coats on to take them outside. Another thing you could do is do life skills, measuring, cooking, cleaning. How do we do it best? How do we do it fast? Should we have time frames? I would stand my kids at the front door and I would set the timer for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, however old they were. And then I would say, okay, everybody go and clean up all the stuff that's on the floor, because I had 3 children and they were busy. So teaching them to shop wisely. Oh, okay, not everything is computer-based, right? We have thousands of years without computers, so we know that there's a lot to learn without ever sitting in front of a computer. But what if your kid needs to shop and they want to buy something? You've got an impulse buyer, and they want to buy, 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 buy. Okay, well, let's read some reviews. Let's go and learn how to pull out these our receipts and see, okay, was this a good deal? Was this a better deal? If we had shopped online and we had read our reviews, we have known that this toy really wasn't the best toy ever because it's kind of junky, and people were complaining how they didn't get customer service and it couldn't get fixed, and so they wasted their money. Those kind of things. So are you starting to think outside the box? Because that's my goal for you, is that you think creatively about what you have at home and what you can do. Your children are going to learn. Now, what if you need to work at home? Well, I worked at home. And I also homeschooled my children, and I did that all the way through high school. So how did I manage my time? Well, one of the things is when you personally are out in the world and you're working, do you stop to go to the doctor's office or go to the mailbox or go to whatever? Do you take personal phone calls while you're at work? Some of you might, but most of you would probably say, no, I can't do that. I'm at work. Well, then you need to say that same thing with your children. When we're working in our classroom and we're learning all these different things, that is our time. If anyone calls, we don't answer the phone because we're at work, right? So when it came time for me to be working my business, then I said, okay, I'm going to have some cards here. I had a red card, and on it was written, no, absolutely not. Do not talk to me unless there is blood. I had a yellow card that said, okay, come in quietly and very quietly tell me what it is you need to know, and I'll know if I need to stop my conversation here or just let you know what to do next. I also had a green card. The green card said, go ahead, talk to me. I'm just talking to a friend right now. And so that allowed us to have some conversation. And I had my card that told them what they could do in response to the card that they held up. You know, I could say green, yellow, red, green, yellow, in response to whatever they needed to know. So that helped me get some of my phone calls without having loud interruptions. That's when my kids got older, more elementary and junior high. When they were younger and they went running through the house after each other playing the game because they'd forgotten that mommy was working, that's when I had a spray bottle. And I would spray them with the spray bottle to stop them and say, hey, I'm working. So you get to be creative in how they do it. And yes, those kids cleaned up that watery mess, and they thought that was not so much fun. So then they stopped being loud around me. It's important for your children to go out for recess. In the school systems, they don't always have recess. They kind of took them away. But at home, your children with eyeglasses or without eyeglasses, they're 8 to 10 inches away from their hands looking at something. They need to be looking up and seeing the tree and the squirrel up in the tree and the bird up in the sky. So it exercises their eyes. And so there's been a correlation between too much reading right here and not enough looking out that creates eyeglass issues. So make sure that every 50 minutes that your kids get up, walk around, go to the bathroom, get a drink of water, go up and down the stairs 3, 4, 5 times, run around the house a couple times, get some of that energy out, because their growing bodies need to be doing stretching and running. How am I doing on time here? Oh, pretty good. All right. Have them go outside and build their own playground. You know, if you can't necessarily get to the playground, then get some sheets, get some tarps, get some boxes, get some anything that you think that they might need, and have them be part of that too, and have them think creatively and make their own jungle gym outside. They will learn how to think creatively. You've got some engineers in your house, I'm sure. They will have the cleanup time also, because you might want to leave your jungle gym out, or it might be going to snow or rain or something, so you need to put it away. And that's learning how to clean up, everybody do your share, right? What if you have one child? You don't have a gaggle of children, you have one child. All right, they need that friend interaction. Even if you do have a gaggle of children, I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm going to make it that word. You're going to teach them how to go onto Skype. Now, Skype, you can talk forever. FaceTime, you can talk forever. But if you get a Zoom room, Zoom, like Zoom, the Zoom room is free. If you have 3 people on it, you can only talk for 40 minutes. Well, after about 40 minutes, your kids are probably about done. So then it'll automatically shut them off. And so you don't even have to go and say time's up. It'll say your time is almost gone here, wrap it up, and then it'll shut off. And that's the end of that Zoom room. So therefore you have parental control, how long it goes. You can set it up so they don't even know how to set it up. You can just say, here you go. When there's 2 people, they can talk forever. But if there's 3 or more, they'll have 40 minutes to have their friend time. And then it's back to doing whatever. Let me go back to one thing. Once I taught the junior high, senior high kids, they had the morning where I actually engaged in their teaching, and I read things to them, and I invited conversation. We had a little conversation, debate, whatever, just whatever we needed to do. But in the afternoons, that was their homework time, and that was my work time. So I had set hours where I was focused on what I was doing, allowing myself to be both a teacher and a parent to my kids. So I encourage you, get engaged, enjoy this. If you're gonna set up this jungle gym with the kids, don't run the whole thing. Just help them get started, and that helps you feel like it is fun. You might want to take over and build it yourself, but then what are they learning? So what about art lessons? Go online, you can find art lessons there. I would tell my kids, go outside, collect some of the nature out there, and then come back and create something with it. Really fun stuff, easy to do. To have a dance party, go online and find physical activities. People are teaching for free right now. Do a treasure hunt. Look at things with a magnifying glass. If you don't have a magnifying glass, get a clear glass, add some water, boom, magnifying glass. What else here? History. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Oregon Trail. Those are things that my kids did. Or they find things online. So I'm happy to share these ideas with you. I hope that that's helpful. I've got to go run to my next meeting here, but I hope that if you have any questions, put them in the comment box. I'll answer them later. And have a great day. It's going to be a joy to be with your children. Truly, you'll love it. And so will they. Bye-bye.